Update 4, AITA for telling my friend I'm proud of her. Mary moved out the following Saturday of the incident. She spent the following days after the blow-up moping around the flat and wanting to talk to me, but I refused and told her I needed space. Her mum came on the weekend to help her pack up her things as Mary was going to move back in with her. Her mum cleared up a lot of the questions I'd had on my mind. I'd always been told by Mary that her dad had been abusive, but her mum had loved him so much she wouldn't leave him. So she left home and was homeless when she was 14, sleeping under benches in train stations, just so she didn't have to be in the house with him. She only moved back in when her mum finally got the guts to divorce her dad. This story I had believed for 7 years turned out to be completely fake. Not only was Mary never homeless, but her father was never abusive and loved both her and her mum very much. The reason I never saw him around was because he'd moved to Australia to pursue his career, which was the real reason for the divorce. He loved his family but wanted success even more, so he left. Her mum told me that Mary's dad was always inviting her over for the summer holidays, but Mary never went because she hates flying. The day she moved out I stayed in my room and just hid away, but she knocked on my door before she left, and I answered. I still wanted to say goodbye. She had been my closest friend for so long that it didn't feel right just letting her fade out of my life without a send-off. She asked me if I wanted the money I gave her for her new car back, but I said no and told her to use it instead for therapy. She cried a lot and tried to hug me, but I kept her at a distance. I let her know this would be the final time we would ever see or speak to each other. I just couldn't be around her anymore with the knowledge of what she'd done. She left sobbing, and when she was gone, my little town flat felt suddenly bigger than it ever had before. It's been hard adjusting to being alone in this place. For the first week she was gone I still expected to see her in the kitchen every morning, or on the sofa when I got home. It was unsettling to say the least. I had my first therapy appointment last week, and I think it actually went well. I haven't been to therapy since I was in school, so I was very nervous to begin with, but my therapist is a very lovely lady who helped me understand that Mary's lies were her own making and I had nothing to do with their creation. In yet another revelation, I met with Jane for coffee as she'd asked me to meet up and clear up some details. She told me she'd been wondering about why Mary would make me the target of her sob story and started asking people in her office about the things Mary had said about me in the past. One that stood out was a painter, they work in art restoration and distribution, who used his art as a means of channeling his traumatic history with his abusive stepmother. Apparently, Mary had taken quite a liking to him, and so she had first told him about her abuse as a way of getting closer to him. She'd mentioned fancying him in the past, but I didn't think she'd go to such lengths to create a connection between them. He'd been furious when he heard the truth, and now doesn't speak to her anymore. Jane told me not many people do now. They were now all worried that she'd make up stuff about them and get them in trouble at work, so they're keeping her at arm's length as a result. I felt a bit bad when I heard this, as I know that Mary is having a miserable time with our friendship group kicking her out as well. Jane apologized to me, but I told her she had nothing to be sorry about, that this was all Mary and she was only trying to protect what she thought was an abused friend.